Going live. Okay, Hangout on Air is live. Welcome to today's Break the Cage Hangout from Phoenix, Arizona and England. Which city are you in, Efe?
Bournemouth, Southwest England.
Southwest England. How do you spell that? Bournemouth? B-O-M-O-T-H?
Bournemouth.
B-O-U-R-N-E?
Yeah, M-O-U.
Bournemouth is how it looks then.
Yeah, that's it. Bournemouth.
But you don't say that. And like you don't say Gloucester, you say Gloucester. Some of those.
I'm an African.
I know. Boy.
I'm an African man.
All right, I get it. Perfect. So we're going to get started with our second of four-part series. Last week we talked about some things that are really good to get started. Marketing and knowing your target audience and that sort of thing. And today we're going to talk about it's moving on with our series of what today's successful entrepreneurs do to attain financial freedom while living a balanced life. That's a mouthful by itself. And because today is mindset, part 2 is mindset and motivation, I want to talk a little bit about just that title, to attain financial freedom while living a balanced life. There is so much of hype today in the online world about, make lots of money or make $1 million in 5 minutes or make all the money you could ever want or think yourself rich or, whatever it is. And so attaining financial freedom is an interesting concept. So if you were talking to a potential client or you were speaking to an audience, how would you describe financial freedom?
Financial freedom is the lifestyle you live whereby you don't have to work to make money. Before you make money, you don't have to physically be working there before you make money. Now, what do those entrepreneurs do? They create system that generates multiple streams of income, whereby when they are sleeping, they make money. They don't have to worry about where the next bill is going to come from. It's just like somebody who goes to 9-to-5 job. If you don't go to work, you don't make money, you don't get paid. But today's successful entrepreneur, they build their business up to the level whereby they have streams of income and the money comes in, and their daily bills, their taxes, their holidays, their daily concern are taken care of. All they do is just multiply the enterprise to make money.
So the idea for financial freedom of obtaining multiple streams of income, the visual for that is raining money or something. What does it mean when you teach an entrepreneur to make multiple streams of income? What is multiple streams of income? And the reason I'm saying that is because part of mindset and motivation is someone might hear that and say, multiple streams? I don't even have one stream working all that well. What are you talking about, multiple streams? And I'm sure you get that sort of conversation all the time. So what does it mean to have multiple streams of income? What do you do to do that?
Well, the fact that you don't have streams of income now doesn't mean you can't have streams of income tomorrow. Entrepreneurship, I think, is the act of creating problem for solutions. So if you look out there in the world or in the marketplace for problems that are existing and you provide solutions or answer to those problems, you got rewarded financially. So the more problem you create, you solve out there, the more income you generate. So when you generate enough income that cover your daily or weekly or monthly or yearly expenses, and you don't have to worry about that.
Okay.
You have obtained.
So let's just start with what you just said. I love that. So think of multiple streams of income as solving multiple problems. So if you use the skill, talent, ability that you have as an entrepreneur, whether you train dogs and you train different breeds of dogs and you teach dog owners how to find good vacation and pet care, or you might have grooming tips and the training tips, and you might have products. You might decide to get a line of product of pet toys made. And so you might have 3 or 4 lines of things to do. And then you might, on top of that, have a podcast where you feature different kinds of animal whisperers or dog whisperers that come on your podcasts and find a way to monetize that. So is that like something like you're talking about?
Yeah, something like that. A very simple and clear example I could give here is I will use my wife as a case study. My wife, she's a professional beauty therapist. She owns a beauty salon, and she provides body massage, facials, manicure, and pedicure.
Mm-hmm.
And she's 4 years old in a business now. Last year, she started creatively, what else can I do to create value to my clients? What else can I do? Then she came up with a product that after doing the client nails, she creates a product whereby they buy and they apply to the skin, to the hand. So she upsells to them. And again, not too long, she created a body spray that she said to our clients as well. So she's not just doing the nails or the massage, she's selling other products that are useful to our clients.
And so using that example and then taking advantage of the e-commerce capability that we have around the world, she can not only serve people, if she wanted to, that show up at the salon, but someone could be there and then they tell their sister about it and they order some from somewhere else, and you could ship stuff. And, you know, you might, another product might be, okay, here's the cream that I ship you, but here's a book. A little booklet I'm going to write about skincare. In other words, creams do this, but here's 5 other things you could do to take good care of your skin, for example.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah,
okay, cool.
That's it.
So the reason I wanted to do this first is because it's easy for somebody like Efe, like me, who does this, to say, okay, keep multiple streams of income, solve all your financial problems, and make a lot of money and have a lot of fun. And somebody that hasn't done that yet, that's still looking at tomorrow, is like, yeah, it's easy for you to say. And yeah, it is easy to say. But what we're trying to do right here to start with is give you some ideas. So wherever you start, let's say you have one thing. Okay, you do what Efe's wife does, which is, you know, she does some physical care, facials and massage, you know, physical body care. And then she thought of other things to add to that. And I'm sure next year there'll be another thing or 2 or 3. And Efe, he does some speaking and he does some coaching. And, you know, me personally, I've done the same thing. I had a career, but I started being a business coach kind of thing about 8 years ago. And now I speak. And because of different things, I just got a call a couple of days ago. There's someone who wants me to come and run a company for them. And so in this company could end up being 8-9 figures, you know, maybe we'll, whatever. So these opportunities happen to create multiple streams of income that aren't dependent on each other. And I think your point about going to work, and if you don't go to work, you don't get paid, is important. So then the first question today is, what the heck does this all have to do with mindset? And I want to throw something out there, and then I want you to talk about it, which is the first thing I want to say is you have to believe that this is possible. You have to imagine, you know what? I hear my wife say that all the time. She's one of these people, she'll go somewhere and she's, you know, I could do that. I could learn how to do that. And sometimes she does, and she's got too many things she's trying to do, and sometimes she doesn't. But her attitude, she always, you know, I could do that. And it's funny because, and the answer is, yeah, you probably could. And whatever it is, she's antiques and done all kinds of stuff. And her dad was an archaeologist. But her first response is, you know, I could do that. And that mindset right there about something being possible is one of the very, very first keys. Yeah. So you want to talk a little bit about the shift from, oh, I could never make that happen, to I could do that.
Yes, certainly. Again, I'm going to use my wife as a case study, talking about the belief and the mindset. But before we go deep into that, let me talk a little bit about entrepreneurship. You see, entrepreneurship, first of all, is the art of finding profitable solution to problems. And as an entrepreneur, there is an identity, there's a reality, there are beliefs and mindset. Now, you're talking about belief now. The little example I will give again is my wife. Now, when my wife started business 2 years ago, things were not moving the way we thought it would move. It wasn't making profit. So we reach out to people who are into accounting, come and look into the business, come and tell us what is going on. And they look into our account, her books, and did all sort of analysis. And they came to us and said, you know what, this business, close it down now. Close it down now because your account is in minus and the sales are not growing and these are not doing anything. And my wife said, you know what, I'm not going to close it down. This is my life. This is my passion. I believe in this business. You guys can say what you want to say. I'm not going to close it down. And now it's 3 years after that advice. She's still in business and she has created this product I mentioned to you. So the belief is what goes on in your mind. What do you think? What do you actually believe about your business, despite the fact that things are not working out right now? What do you see as the future of the business? So those beliefs is what determine the decisions and the actions you take.
So what would you say to someone that starts right now and says, oh, instead of like my wife says, I could do that. Someone that says instead, oh, I could never do that.
Okay. The belief of an entrepreneurs who are attaining financial freedom today are: one, they figure things out, how to do things, is the belief of an entrepreneur. Two, they focus on how can I differentiate my product or my service in the marketplace. That is a belief of an entrepreneur. And also, the belief of an entrepreneur is there are far more opportunities to explore in the marketplace and in the world.
Okay, cool. So my hypothesis was that there are people who say, oh, I can't do that. And the answer is, if that's your belief and you want to hold on to that, then you're right. You can't, and you're not an entrepreneur and you won't be successful. If, on the other hand, you are willing to say, maybe I can. There are, in fact, more problems. And in fact, to solve, there are lots of more problems to solve. There's opportunity. An entrepreneur tends to see opportunity and ask the question, how do I do this? As opposed to seeing problems and asking, oh, this I can never, or it's not asking, but saying I can never get around it. They see opportunity and ask, how do I solve this problem? Yeah. And that's where you start. And so if on your journey as an entrepreneur, if you want to be successful as an entrepreneur and attain financial freedom and live a balanced life, the first piece of mindset or belief is to start with the belief that A, there are problems to solve, and B, you can figure out a way to do this.
And how can I do it?
And how do I make this happen? It's like someone that says to me, I can't afford that. And the right question is, okay, what do I need to do in order to afford that?
That's it. That is a belief system and a mindset. If you keep asking yourself how, the what to do, you at the right time.
Okay, good. So the other thing that is in the title of our podcast that also has to do, or whatever this is, video podcast or something, is how to attain financial freedom. So we talked about that a little, and I'm going to close that off, and then I'm going to go to the balanced life part. So attaining financial freedom, believe that there are problems to solve, believe that you can find them, make a choice to keep looking and asking how, what to do, what can I do? There's got to be a way. There's got to be a way, just like his wife did. No, I'm not going to close a business. You guys go talk to somebody else. I'm going to do it myself. And so she created some new products and some new stuff. And here she is a few years later, still, making it go. So those are the beliefs of an entrepreneur who is successful. Yeah. And if you don't have those, then fix that. Now, the next thing that many entrepreneurs do is that they will work themselves into the ground. Now, I'm going to put a comma right there. And before we go to the balanced lifestyle, I have to say one more thing about belief. I think maybe I made it sound like if you have the belief, you have it. And if you don't, you don't. And you can't change it. And I want to make sure that it's really clear. And I know Efe will agree with this. You can change your beliefs. Yes, you can start today angry and frustrated and scared, and you can end up next week not. And the reason I want to tell you, I have this story. I have a client who she's a great entrepreneur, and she has some really valuable services. But I could see from her processes that one thing that would be really valuable for her to do is to start using more social media, not necessarily to talk about her business, but to talk about her personality and her personal life, to start sharing her authentic self with people. So I told her to start making videos, and we talked a little bit about what, and she finally did. In fact, I saw her and I said, all right, you have to commit to me face to face. You're going to do the first one before you go to bed tonight. So she went home and she did. And in that first video, she said, I cried all the way home for 30 minutes. I was so scared to do this thing. And it happened to be making a video, and she didn't. Same thing. I don't like myself on video. I got nothing to say. Blah, 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 blah. We've all heard that. But the point is, she was so scared. She bawled. She said, I bawled my eyes out for 30 minutes. But she did it.
Yes.
She dried her eyes. She set up the friggin' camera. She looked into it and said, I don't even know what I'm doing. I'm making this video because I said I would. I'm going to do this. I don't know if I have anything valuable to say or not, but I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do it every day until I quit being afraid of it and whatever, because I said I would.
Yeah.
Changed her mindset.
In that regard, one thing I would say is one of the mindsets of today's successful entrepreneur is they take risk. They take risk. Even in the face of doubt, in the face of failure, in the face of uncertainty, they just go ahead and take action and risk the game. And in the process of taking risk, they try it, it works out, they do more. So that lady you said, she took risk and she just went ahead and she did the video. Now it's a different ball game and different mindset.
Yeah, and she did the second one yesterday. And I mean, this just barely happened, right? She's a brand new client, and this just happened a couple days ago. So she did the second one last night, and she's like, okay, I'm not confident yet, but this is way better than the last one. So I'm way less scared, right? And so she did it. So talk a little bit about how you would help people change their beliefs or their mindset when they have one that's keeping them stuck is the favorite word, or keeping them from doing what they need to do.
One of the things in my own experience, myself and working with clients and studying to do as a successful entrepreneur, what gets people get stuck or having that limiting beliefs is not having clarity of what is it they want. Lack of clarity, not knowing what to do, having so many good ideas and feeling overwhelmed, pulled to so many directions, saying, what do I do first? What do I do next? And all that. But the way I work with people, I work with people to find out, clarify the direction. What exactly you want. We start with one thing you want to do first. So if you can figure out that one thing and you have a reason why you want to do it, I think you will take action in doing it.
So that's beautiful. So here's now let's move on to the other piece about balanced life and your motivation. One of the things that entrepreneurs do, for some of the reasons that Efe just talked about, which is they have so many good ideas, they started this and then they stop, and they start this and stop and do a whole bunch of little things and don't finish them, don't get them over the goal line. That's one problem. Another problem is they have so many ideas, they don't know which one to start, and so they do nothing and they mess around. Another one is they pretend they have a million ideas, and maybe they do, but they're actually scared, and so they twiddle between ideas, and the real reason they haven't started is because they're scared they're going to fail. And so then they don't really go after one of those ideas. And so they end up with endless hours of what I call churning. We're just going around and around and around, and exactly jack gets done. And so, you know, moving ahead with that. So one more piece of thought about this motivation piece. To give everybody a couple of points on how to stop churning, starting and stopping, and you said something about picking one thing, so maybe talk a little more about that. But how do you help me if I come to you and I'm saying, oh, I just can't get, I just can't get started, and you have to figure out if it's because I'm afraid or because I'm a procrastinator or whatever it is, or I've got all these ideas and I just, whatever the excuse is. So talk to me a little about that.
First of all, for you to get started is to make a decision that you want to start. Make that decision, because our decision is what controls us. So if you make that decision, you know what, I've had enough of this, I want to get started. When you make that decision, then you're ready to kick on. Now, when you decide I want to get started, the next thing is, what is it do I want to start? There might be a couple of ideas, couple of things you want to do, or more, 5, 7, 8, 10. Then you now prioritize which one of these ideas can I start with. And just start with a tiny step. Start with one. Then the discipline comes in. You discipline yourself in focusing on one thing at a time. Because if you focus on too many things at a time, you feel overwhelmed. And we entrepreneurs, there are a lot of things that comes to our mind. We have a lot of things. So the disciplined entrepreneur is the one who decides what he or she wants, discipline himself or herself to do one thing at a time. And when it becomes an habit, you improve your performance, your productivity, and your profit will eventually increase as well.
So this is really interesting. It comes right to a thing that's happening in my life right now. I just, somebody that I've known for 2 or 3 years, very, very successful, doing all kinds of things, came to me and said something about starting or creating and starting this company. Now, the vision that we have outlined in the target market is quite large. And so we think that within maybe 4 or 5 years, we can probably sell the company between $50 and $100 million, which is fun. And that sounds good. Okay, fine. But as we started talking about it, it was, oh, we could launch this one and this one and this one and this one. And pretty quickly we had 6 or 7 things that we could do. And all of them were good. And each one of them might move the company from 0 to $1 million or $2 million in sales the first year. But what we quickly discovered was what Efe was just saying is, wait a minute, we can't do all these at once, and it would be stupid to try. So, and both of us are very disciplined, very successful, very long-term, made millions, but we were still doing that. We were going, well, we could do this and this and this. And so then our good sense took over, and it's like, wait a minute. So narrow it down, which target, which this, which that. And so literally today, you know, we have one more meeting tomorrow before we, you know, pull the trigger and start getting the people in and launching it. Narrowing it down, narrow. Which one thing are we going to do? Which there happens to be a target market of about 400,000 or 500,000. So 400,000 or 500,000 of this type thing. Which one of these are we going to do? When are we going to put it together? What are the resources and everything to do this one thing?
Yeah.
And so it just happened. I mean, and I've been doing this for decades, and it still happens. And it's like, wait, I'm going to kill myself. I can't do that.
It's yeah. Yeah, that's why I'm popularly known as focus guru. You focus, you narrow down. So if you or your friend were my client, the thing I'm going to do, I will ask you, what do you want to create? You can mention 10 for me. Then I will go one step further. Which one of these then do you want to start with first? Which one will be the easiest thing for you to start with? Because having a singleness of purpose is power. It gives you power, it gives you energy, it gives you motivation. Then you take action, then you move from there.
Totally right. So that's fantastic. So anyway, both personally, my client, the one that was crying her eyes out for half an hour before she could make her first video, and then me with a partner that we're launching a new business in the next month or 2, and we're getting ready to decide. We had to follow that focus. So I want to talk about one final thing. We've got about 5 or 7 minutes left here. I want to talk about this balanced life business. What does that mean? What does a balanced life mean?
Balanced life, it could be you just enjoying yourself as an entrepreneur, because there are quite a number of entrepreneurs making a load of money, very profitable business, but unhappy. Why? The demand of the business is taking their lives. The demand of trying to get their business going, they are so soaked in their business, focus on their business, and the other part of their lives is not doing well. Like their family life, their relationship, their well-being, their health is not as good as how the business is profitable. So it's being in profit in business and making your other part of the life still great.
So that's,
for example,
go ahead, please tell the example.
Yeah, a lady who she has a business and she got 2 daughters and a husband, and she's never there for her daughters. It's never there. So the daughter thought she doesn't care for them. The daughter thought she doesn't love them, and there was always quarrel at home. So after working with her for a period of time, she was able to prioritize her activity. There's time for family, time for business, time for every other thing. So that's what I mean by balanced life.
So again, I'm going to bring this home with some examples, because it's easy for us, me, Efe, to talk about, well, you got to be balanced and make time for your golf game and your family and your cousins and your dog and your spouse and whatever. So an example of what happens when you don't, you know, I'm an example of that. I have been, you know, I have been through success on a world stage. I had a contract with the Queen of England. Efe laugh every time I say that, but I did. But the cost, not of that contract, I made millions. The cost in my life of staying focused has been so of staying focused on one thing and neglecting other things, of not having priorities, of not having things straight and balanced. You know, the reward has been millions of dollars. The cost has been a stack of misery, struggles, and pain equally as high. And so again, you know, when I talk about with Efe about this topic, it's really near and dear to my heart, because man, have I lived this blood on the floor kind of stuff. And so the need to do this prioritization and start with your ideas and your energy and your entrepreneurism and your brilliance, because the world needs it and it needs you. But creating the priority that he's just talked about is happy, or you're going to kill yourself in real life, or you're going to kill yourself emotionally, or you're going to kill all your relationships. You know, one or the other. So what is the most important thing that you helped your client do there to change what she was actually doing? Probably had to change in her head first, but how did you get her to redo that so that the old habits got changed?
Well, there's this, I think I learned this from my first mentor in the industry, Tony Robbins. Tony Robbins is a guy who believes in creating rituals in your life. Rituals are the things you do on a daily basis. It becomes your way of doing things. Like, you think you could do consistently on a daily basis that help you find balance? What could you do? It could be maybe in the morning, when you wake up in the morning, you want to do something into your life. It could be maybe you want to start doing meditation every morning, or you want to go for running every morning, or you want to do something that gives you your life back. Again, entrepreneurs, one of the things that make them to be pulled to so many directions, majority when they wake up in the morning, the first thing they do is to open their email. And when you open your email, that is not your agenda, it's other people's agenda. You want to try to reply to emails and putting all the other things aside. Yes, every morning when I wake up, when I get to the office, I'm not going to open my email first. I'm going to do the things that are more important to me. So you create this as a ritual of what do you need to prioritize first, and you discipline yourself in doing it. Okay, so we're just about out of time, but I want to give you a ritual. You guys that are watching, I'm going to tell you, because he's exactly right, and this is what I do. So this is my morning ritual. My life, I cover my physical stuff. So I do some stretches and I do some exercise. Different kinds. I might go for a walk. Today I went for a really hard bike ride for about 8 miles. Today I was really excited because I cut 1 minute off my best time on that 8 miles. So I was really stoked. Okay, so I do a physical thing. I meditate. I have to have some connection spiritually. So I do some spiritual work and meditation. I do some exercise. I spent some time with my wife, very focused, very not about what we had to do today,
very focused, very together, very much about our coupleship. And then not about what we're going to do today. So I do those three things. I take care of my body. I take care of my God, my spirit. I take care of my wife. And the fourth thing I do is I did a couple of small business things that were like different. They're not like emails and whatever. So for example, I created an invitation for a new client to do something special. So it's something special for one client.
Good.
I'm going to go do this.
Good.
So that is Matt Kellen's daily ritual in order to make my day alive, vibrant, and create value. And so I wanted to give you one as an example for the people, for the folks that are watching it. That's what I do. And without it, my life quickly spirals out of control.
Good. So what informed you to know about these rituals? How did it happen? When did you make the decision to create these rituals in your life?
My dad used to get us up really early to exercise, and we would have family prayer and do some of that. And I've been in and out of organized religion all my life, sometimes in, sometimes out for 10 years. But I've always felt a spiritual connection. So I've always had some kind of ritual, not as organized. About 3 or 4 years ago, I was in a mastermind for a while, and they talked again about ritual, which was something I'd already done. I had written 5 books on meditation. So I've been a long-time practitioner of meditation for 40-something years. And
Great.
So I just used the impetus of that mastermind, the fact that I'd already done 5 books on meditation. I'd done martial arts for decades. And so I understood the nature of that. And in that mastermind, one of the things is to sort of formalize that ritual. And so I took that concept, formalizing the ritual, took the things that I was already doing and sort of put all that together to create my own version. And one of the things I do in my coaching, one of the first things I do in my coaching is I will ask you what your morning ritual is. I ask every entrepreneur, what's your first thing? Yeah, I get my coffee and open my email, and I say, not anymore. Starting today, in the morning, and I get a bulletproof commitment. You can make it up. I don't care. It has to cover these areas. And before today's over, you send me an email and you tell me what it is. It can get done in 45 minutes. It doesn't have to take your whole morning. But you commit to me that you're going to start your days different from now on. And without exception, forcing, I can't force anybody, but requiring it in my coaching that they create that ritual and then report every time we have a coaching call. We actually score it, we give it numbers, and we create a whole game out of it and everything else. But making people do that daily ritual is the way that I help entrepreneurs live that balanced life and create that motivation. So that's what I do.
Yeah. That's great. It makes bring balance in your life, because who is an entrepreneur, someone who look for problem and create solutions to the problem. If you're not creative, you can't locate opportunities, you can't look for problems. So these rituals, so you know what is it you want to create as a ritual for yourself. Like you figured out the things you want to do. You meditate, you focus on you do exercise or one bit of a business, your wife, all those sort of things. So if it works out for you, that's great. So we all as an entrepreneur, we have the responsibility of what can we do as a ritual on a daily basis that keep us centered, productive, then we can build a profitable business.
So thank you. We're done with our half hour, a little bit over. We're going to do this again next week. I don't remember what part 3 is, but it'll be interesting and fun too. What is part 3? Do you have that schedule in front of you there, Efe?
Not yet. I think I should go back to the email we had on Facebook, then we could get it done.
It doesn't matter. We'll surprise you. Part 3 is next week. Next week at this same time. We'll be jumping on, having a thing. Part 3 of this series that'll do with how today's successful entrepreneurs, what we do to attain both financial freedom, which is like the cash in the bank, no worries, and having a balanced life, which means we have a kick-ass time every time we get up. So we'll see you guys next week. Efe, thank you for joining me.
Thrilled to be here today.
All right. We'll see you guys next Saturday.